like I said before, it's the most wonderful time of the year. And right now, I guess it's the midway part of the preliminary round at the World Juniors in Minnesota. So we're going to take a little midway pit stop, a checkpoint, if you will, for Team Canada. We're going to take a look at how they've been doing, how they fared through the first two games. Going to take a look at their next two games and what they can fix up, what needs to be better, what's been good, and how the other teams are shaping up, and if Canada takes top spot, who they will probably face in the quarters. All they need to do to take top spot is take care of the Danes and then beat the Finns on New Year's Eve. Doesn't seem like too tall of a task, but you can never tell in junior hockey. So let's get right into it. Let's start from the back up. Starting in the first game, which Canada did ultimately win 7-5 against the Czechs, Carter George didn't look that strong. So the question is, what was it? Was it a little bit of pressure from last year? Was it a little bit too much on his mind? Was it just a bad day in net for Carter George? Who knows? He is having a little bit of a tough season. He also was having a tough season last year with the Owen Sound attack. There isn't much of a group in front of him back in Owen Sound. So when he gets here, definitely is a lot easier for him, but he might not have to face as much rubber as he does in Owen Sound, which means he might not be as locked in through the duration of 60 minutes as he usually is back in the OHL, where he has to carry the load. Or it might just be that it was a bad night. Sometimes goalies have bad nights. It's just a matter of fact, it doesn't really matter as long as he gets back into it. The question is, will he get back into it? Because Canada has three goaltenders. Jack Ivankovic played last night. Jack Ivankovic looked all right. He looked a lot better than Carter George did in the first night, but that's also because he played Latvia. He had a lot smaller of a sample size of shots. Like Latvia's coach said, when you have a much larger gun, or when you have a gun with a lot of bullets, you can fire all you want, like Canada did. When you have a gun with 10 bullets, you have to be smart, and that's what the Latvians were. They were smart, taking the opportunities when they could, but it also allowed Jack Ivankovic not to have to see as much rubber last night. But they also, right before the game, which I kind of didn't expect, they registered Joshua Ravensbergen. So that means Ravensbergen is now available to play in the tournament. You have to be registered to play, and usually a team doesn't register a player unless they plan on playing him. So Ravensbergen looks like he might play the game against Denmark. They might see how he is, see how he comes in and plays. I don't see why not. I think he actually could have made last year's team no problem. I'm surprised they brought him since it is in North America. But I guess they probably would have felt bad cutting him 2 years in a row. So they brought him along. There also could have been goaltending problems. You never know. So it is nice to have a third. But either way, George Ivankovic both look a little bit shaky. Ravensbergen, we'll get to see what he has coming up whenever he plays. I'm assuming he'll play the Denmark game, but let's move on to the next thing. It's the defense. The defense is kind of been strong in the offensive zone and weak in the defensive zone. You would like your forwards to be strong in the offensive zone, but the defense really have. Ethan McKenzie scoring the game winner against the Czechs. Zane Parekh scored two beautiful goals against the Czechs from the blue line. Both, well, I guess one was from the blue line. The second one he walked in and just kind of put it upstairs from the top of the circles. Two beautifully placed shots from Zane Parekh, offensive defenseman, showing why he might have been a good pick last year for Team Canada, although the Saginaw Spirit defenseman was left off. He now plays for the Flames, and he's probably showing why he'll be a top dog at this tournament points-wise. He's only played 2 games, but I bet you in this next game against Denmark, if Canada gets any power plays. It'll be a game to work on their power play, which hasn't been that strong. And Zane Perek will get to fire off a couple, or at least set a couple up, get a couple points, and stat pad, if you will. Although you can't take Denmark lightly. They were in a battle last night with the Czechs. They had the Czechs 3-2 until about the midway point of the game, about like the midway point of the second period, and then the Czechs kind of took off with it. But yeah, either way, Canada will be able to experiment with this Denmark team. And I think Zane Perek and the rest of this defense will continue their offensive highlights, but the struggles in the defensive zone will need to be stopped. I know Reed on the back end has been tough. There's a couple tough spots I've seen him in. I think you can look at McKenzie as being one of the strongest. Aitchison hasn't played his best either. I know I would have liked to see a little bit more from Krishan Aitchison. He hasn't laid any of those big booming hits, although you might not need to in those tight games. But he also really hasn't played up to his potential when it comes to being that force that he is. He can be a game-breaking force when he needs to be. Just not even by throwing those big hits, but by getting underneath the team's skin and picking the right moments to make his move. Just being a tough player to battle in the corners, making it an offensively or a mental battle all night for those forwards coming into his corner. They're always going to know that, oh, this is Aitchison's corner. Shit. So either way, the defense has got to kind of tighten up for Canada. But the forwards have really been the bright spot. If there has been any, I look to Montreal Canadiens draft pick Michael Hage. He had the game winner last game against the Latvians in overtime. It was a 2-1 win in overtime for Canada. I was going to say for the Latvians, but no, sir. Almost. It was almost a repeat of last year. Jack Ivankovic said he felt a little too close for comfort, and in an interview with Kenzie Lalonde. So Canada, it'll have to rely on its forwards, and I think Gavin McKenna really needs to get going and show why he is so touted, and he's ranked number 1 to go first overall by a lot of people. I think this is his tournament to go show why he should be ranked number 1 and why he should go number 1 next year. He's had a good year at Penn State to start off the year, but a lot of people have kind of talked down on the start he's had with the Nittany Lions. But all in all, Gavin McKenna has been pretty good. But with the red and white here at this tournament, I think he'll need to really step it up. He's playing top line minutes alongside with Michael Hage and Brady Martin. So it's a tough task, but if you're the number 1 pick going in, I think you should be able to handle that with ease, especially with line mates like that. Otherwise, I think Canada's forward group has been a little bit 50-50. You know, I'm not sure the word I should use, but the one line I do like was the O'Reilly Baudouin Desnoyers line from last night. They were very heavily used in the third period against the Latvians. And it came down to, excuse me, face-offs and just a lot of defensive zone battles that were won by that line, a lot of offensive zone time as well. Good job by Desnoyers to find the open ice a couple of times, although no goals. There was a lot of offensive opportunities that were driven and created by that line. So I think it was good for them to just get out there and get together. I think they've created a lot of chemistry. Baudouin is a big, heavy forward, and Desnoyers got the game-breaking ability. He's a playmaker. He can shoot. He can score. And I really think O'Reilly's got that speed. He's got the veteran knowledge. He's close with Dale Hunter as well, so he trusts him. I think it's a good forward group Canada's got going here, and it'll be up to the forwards to really carry the load as it should be with the stacked roster that they have the rest of the way. So you look for the next game against Denmark to be an instrumental and experimental game, looking to kind of work on the power play, penalty kill if they have some. The penalty kill has been all right. I don't know if they've really taken many, but the power play is something that needs work. And the offense, if they can get their bottom six rolling a little bit, get some scoring coming from there, that would be amazing. We'll see if anybody that was scratched draws into the lineup. I know Liam Greentree's ice time has been way down. And then the next game, they'll go to New Year's Eve against the Finns. So we'll see how that rolls out. And then we'll check back in after the end of the preliminary round. We'll see how Canada's looking. We'll assume they'll take top spot if they do what I said they need to do at the start of the video, which is beat the Danes and then beat the Finns. But like James Duthie said, if Finland beats Canada in regulation and then Czechia beats Finland in regulation, Canada would finish third. So that would be a tough situation there for that one. It wouldn't go too well for Canada, but I really do think they'll finish top of the group this year, and they'll get the number 4 seed team from Group A. So we'll hope for that. I'll catch you guys in the next one after the preliminary round. We'll be back to wrap things up and look forward to the quarterfinals and the semifinals. And then we'll drop back in, might do a live stream. We'll see what goes on. If Canada makes the gold medal game, we'll hope they do. And we'll hope for another gold medal to end the streak. We've been in 5th the past few years. It's ever since they've been in Nova Scotia. They just can't win any more golds, but I guess they'll have to come back here. If they can't win here in Minnesota, they'll have to come back to Nova Scotia to win another gold medal. We'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one, and happy holidays.